They're huge heads and those horns. Oh, wow. Big hump on their back. These people just set out their chairs and got their scope on and picnicking and enjoying the scenery. These people are on top of their truck for good views. Somebody told me that wolves and a grizzly bear was spotted, but pretty far away. And I have yet to spot them. Well, I just had lunch and enjoyed the views. Kept looking through my binoculars to see if I could spot any animals, but I couldn't see anything. I'm at an area called Soda Butte, and maybe that's the butte up there. And supposedly this is where the bears hang out. I'm going to keep going a little bit further, but then I think I better turn around pretty soon because I'm getting low on gas and there's no gas stations here in Lamar Valley. So, but I'm a little concerned because it's going to be difficult to like turn around. I don't know where I'll have to do a 3-point turn most likely to get out of here. Well, I just drove up a little farther and found this pretty spot. This might be the Soda Butte. Really pretty. Back where I came from, there was a lot of people parked, and I could see that there was a bear in the far distance, but there was no parking for sure for an RV. So I'm going to look through my binoculars, see if I can see it, but I think I'm too far away. Rats. Alright, I just spotted my first grizzly. I actually saw a grizzly in Alaska on my tour, but he was further away. Through my binoculars, I can see him really well. His big gray hulking body. Sorry, I can't get any closer than this. I'm zoomed out as much as I can be. But that is a grizzly. Here at Soda Butte. That's where they said the bears hang out, the grizzlies. So I am very excited. This is great. Well, I had to be creative and make my own parking spot here. I'm a bit at an angle, but I won't be staying for long. But, you know, I left enough room for people to be able to get out. It's definitely harder with an RV here in Lamar Valley, but I've done pretty good. Managed to find parking most spots somehow. I had to walk quite a bit at that first stop this morning, but other than that, I've found nice spots that are close. So, yeah, I don't know how long I'll wait here because there's a like they have in Yellowstone, they have these safari groups, you know, and tour groups. And I had looked into it, but they're really expensive, like $1,000 and up. So I decided not to go that route. But I overheard him say that he thought that the polar bear, grizzly bear that we saw below could potentially be moving this direction along the creek here. This is the Soda Butte Creek, and so he might come a little closer. I doubt it, but there's a lot of people around and noise and stuff, so I doubt he'll come this close. But I'm going to wait for a little while and see if he does. But I was a little envious because I was just talking to a young man who There was one spot that was really crowded further down where I came from, and I was like, wow, what's going on there? You know, and that was one spot I could not find a spot for me. And he said, yeah, there was a bear like up on the hillside, not very far, like, you know, like maybe there, who was just sleeping under a tree and woke up and was stretching and scratching himself. And he said he was massive, he was huge, and he was so close. So I would have loved to have seen that. So I'm envious that I didn't get to see that bear. But yeah, it's one of the downsides of having a large RV. It was a bit of a dicey ride to get up here this morning. You have to go on Dunraven Pass, which is one of the most, you know, steep drop-offs, curves, all that in Yellowstone that I know of. People say it's the most scariest road, and so I was definitely white-knuckling it in some spots, and I'm not looking forward to driving it back down again this afternoon. But it was only about 35 minutes, so it wasn't too long, and it went by fast. So I think it'll be fine. I just, you know, what I'm reminding myself is just go the speed you're comfortable with. And if people want to go around you, fine. You know, I'm not going to try and speed up for other people's benefit, you know. Besides, there's a lot of wildlife around here, and I don't want to hit anything, you know. Again, there was a deer. I think it was a deer or an elk, I wasn't sure, right at the roadside this morning, and if I had been going any faster. Although the deer wasn't running across the street, but he was right there, and he could have bolted out at any second. So, you know, I really don't want to hit any wildlife. That would really upset me. So, oh, I don't think I mentioned that I got to see the rump of a young black bear too at that last spot. He kind of disappeared, so by the time I got my binoculars on him, he was sort of heading, you know, up the hill mountain away from me, so all I got was his rump. But I'm very happy that I at least got to see one grizzly bear, because I was like going to be really bummed if I didn't see a big grizzly bear, because that drive was so hard and I have to do it again. I'm like, gosh, I don't want to, you know, feel like I did that hard drive and yet there was no payoff. But it worked out. I got to see a grizzly bear, and I'm so glad I have my good strong binoculars. They're 10 by 50 Bushnells. That was one the internet recommended, that size recommended for seeing wildlife, so that's the one I bought. And people are picnicking and stuff out here. It's pretty cool. I had a big lunch. I stopped at one big turnout and, you know, made my lunch. I was just like, wow, this is so great. I can sit here and make my lunch, and I'm gonna go sit down for a little while and just look out my back windows and eat my lunch and enjoy the views. Pretty awesome. So I had a nice big lunch of a taco salad. Turned out good. And I'm stuffed now. I made it too big. But that last time that it's like I saw that big group of people, and the park ranger said whenever you see a big group of people, that usually means there's a bear, you know, nearby. And that was the spot that I couldn't pull over. And then I went a little further, and I saw an opening for me on the left side of the road, so I had to kind of cross over the lane to park, get out of my RV, hold up my binoculars, and I could see the grizzly bear. So it was like a happy accident, because I wasn't sure. So I pulled over first and then found the grizzly bear. So pretty exciting. So happy. And I just wish I could spot a wolf or a wolf pack. That would be the icing on the cake. Do you like my Yellowstone shirt? Let me see if I can show the design. And my favorite color, second favorite color after blue, is purple. And I like the V-neck rather than the choke you neck. So I'm happy to wear it today. Okay, I'm gonna head back now. Wish me luck. This drive back is gonna be scary for me. There are times on the road when it's very narrow, steep drop off on your right hand side, and no guardrails. I don't think it goes for long periods. I think it's intermittent. I was trying to pay attention this morning, but I was kind of focused on where I, the road ahead, but I am a little nervous about it. Forgot to mention that I saw a van. Oh boy, it was at this precarious, it was parked in a pullout, and it was at this precarious angle with one maybe two wheels off the ground. So obviously the driver got his vehicle too much on an angle and it just started to tip over. But it was weird because it was just sort of at an angle. It hadn't completely tipped over. I was like, oh boy, it's kind of happened. I mean, not happened to me, but it was a little bit of a close call where I was pulling into a small driveway to a campground. There was a big camper ahead of me, and they went on they tried to like cut it short, and they were at an extreme angle, but they made it. And then it was my turn. I'm like, I'm not doing that. No way, I'm not taking any chances. So I waited until some cars passed by enough for me to kind of make a wider turn. But that's one of my fears, because a lot of times here in Yellowstone, I think it seems like there's been like roads at an angle and bumps at an angle and stuff like that. So you gotta watch your angles. Hazy day. Smoke, I guess. So much for having blue skies in the summertime now. Here's an RV having to do like a 5-point turn. He's, I think, longer than me to be able to go into the opposite direction. He did it. I had a big enough turnaround. Okay, the bison herd. I was heading out of the Lamar Valley, and the bison herd is really next to the road now. I'm really glad I got to see him closer up. This is really cool. The only thing I didn't get to see today was wolves. See how they swish their tails all the time. Wow, look at that massive head. Oh, I just heard their vocalization. Oh, he's getting mad at the other one. I think I read in one display that they can attack cars. I'm glad they're not in the road and they're just hanging out over there. I'm zoomed in quite a bit, but they are kind of close. Let me show you about how far away I'm sitting. I'm about that far. Decided to get going in case the buffalo decide to move into the road, and it could really take a long time to get out of here. See, they're really close to the road now. They're like big cows. This is the worst jam up I've seen of the day. Yeah, the bison started out pretty far out there this morning. Now it's about, I think 2 o'clock. So they move their way towards the road in the afternoon. Just waiting in line because there's road work being done, so a lot of cars coming this way, which means people are coming into Lamar Valley right now at 2 o'clock. I've been here since 8 o'clock this morning, so I can't believe I've been here for 6 hours. I meant to get here actually even earlier than that. I don't know what happened. I had set my alarm for 5:15 a.m. And it went off, and I got up immediately. But by the time I left, it was after 6:30, and I don't know how that happened because I know I was a lot quicker than that. Oops, the cars are going now. So I got here later than I wanted because they tell you, try to get here at sunrise, but I wasn't going to drive in the dark on that scary road, no way. But I figured if I left around 6:15, there'd be some usable light, to drive here with. So I meant to get on the road by 6:15. It's about an hour to get here, so I was a good 45 minutes late. They say the earlier you can get here, the better. Like I said, sunrise or, at dusk, but there's no way I would do that because that would definitely mean driving back in the dark on that scary road. So, I'm happy. I'm just bummed I didn't see any wolves, but perhaps I'm going to another campground in Yellowstone. Maybe I'll still get to see one or several. If you have any kind of big fear of heights, then this is Calcite Springs Overlook. It's pretty cool.
No, from the beer.
I'm smelling the sulfur again in the air. Yesterday I was at that Norris Springs, and sure enough, my clothing did stink like sulfuric acid. Still does today. Wow, I didn't expect it to be such a beautiful overlook. Of course, I didn't know what to expect. This is beautiful. It's hazy, but it's still beautiful. I actually did not know this, but Yellowstone is an active volcano, and I think that this is part of the caldera, but I'm not sure. It's hazy today, so it's not so clear, but it's still quite beautiful. Okay, this is called Inspiration Point. I'm not sure where the point is. But it is pretty spectacular. So I am camping at Canyon Campground, and they have Canyon Village, which has the general store, an education center, restaurant, groceries, etc. And then literally just 5 minutes from there is this beautiful Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. And there's a North Rim Drive, which is this one, and then there's a South Rim Drive. So that's the South Rim. There's overlooks on that side as well. So you can see from both sides, and you can do that probably in a day, because there's so many overlooks. But I divided this up in two trips, because I got here kind of late, so I only had time to do the South Rim Drive, and today I do the North Rim Drive. And the park ranger told me come after 5 p.m. and boy was he right, because no problem finding parking. If I had come during the day, I think it would have been a problem to find parking for my rig. But it's after 5 o'clock. People are having dinner. No problem to find parking. But yeah, there's all these great overlooks. So if you come here, stay at Canyon Campground. It's an okay campground. It's not that great. It's very wooded, and there's not very many level spots. It's run by the vendor Xanterra. You don't find out your camping spot until you get here. And so I was able to ask her, can you please give me the flattest spot you've got? So she gave me a fairly flat spot. However, to get into it, it's a pretty steep, kind of road. And so just kind of got to go up a hill and then try to go backwards down the hill into my spot. But this is so far one of my favorites. I mean, the views on this are expansive and just sublime. Well, it's about 7 o'clock. It's been a long day. Started out, as I said earlier, I started out at about 6:45, 7 o'clock, 7 a.m. So I've been going for 12 hours. So I'm pretty tired. Sometimes from my day trips, I'm so tired that I can barely even cook I just snack in the evenings. I haven't cooked too many dinners when I have a long day like this. I'm too tired. And, if I had microwave or something, I would do microwave, or sometimes I just do a salad or something. But I'm too tired now to probably really cook anything, so I'll probably just be snacking. I'm heading back to the campground now. Tomorrow I leave and I go down to another campground here in Yosemite, and then on that leg I get to see Old Faithful and all of that at that area. So I planned this so that I'm staying in the northern part and then the southern part of Yellowstone. I was talking to a gentleman here who said that it's a completely different experience to come in the winter time, but they do not allow the public to come here during the winter. Only tour companies, and they cost about $500, and they have these, big tires and big trucks with big tires, and it would be fun to experience that, but I don't know if I'd ever get around to it, but that was interesting to know about. Well, time flies. I was up at 6:30 this morning, and it's already after 9:30. I left my camp spot and just dumped my tanks, and now I'm ready to hit the road. I put in my route and the places I want to stop on my Google Maps while I have some service, so it'll keep working, because I think once I start driving down to Grant Village, there will not be cell service. So I find if I put it in before I don't have cell service, then it works, as long as I don't close out the app. I'm noticing that some of the stops are already more busy than usual, so I'm a little bummed that I didn't get out earlier. I don't know where the time goes. I didn't even actually have breakfast, make myself breakfast, so I don't know how 3+ hours went by so fast this morning. I meant to get out earlier. I wanted to mention that, I'm glad that, even though it's at an elevation here of 8,000 feet, I've been doing pretty good. I'm not like, if I start, walking really fast, then I get out of breath. But I've been doing a lot of walking on this trip, which is good, because I haven't been eating great. I've been sometimes too tired to really fix myself a healthy meal, which is kind of a bummer, but it takes time to do all that and make the meal and do all the dishes and stuff. And I'm also trying to see a lot. So I end up doing kind of more, convenience foods and not cooking much. And not convenience foods. Well, yes, I mean snacks and things like that. So I'm just not getting enough vegetables in. And so that's kind of a bummer. But I need to cook up some fresh king salmon that I bought, and that's got to be cooked tonight for sure for dinner. It's probably one of my favorite protein sources is king salmon. Yum. It's so moist and delicious. And so yeah, I've been doing good with the elevation. I've been taking a lot of chlorophyll every day. I try to take some, and that seems to be helping me, and that's a good thing. So, okay, better get on the road. It's already getting busy. Somebody, a lady I was talking to yesterday, said that, it's after Labor Day. And I planned this trip thinking that after Labor Day, it should be less busy here, because kids are back in school and such. But she said that she's been here before in August, and it was actually less busy in August than it is this time. Maybe that could be because everybody's thinking the same way, that, let's go in September, like I did, when the kids are back in school. Or perhaps the national parks are more busy than in general because of the cutbacks and people wondering, how long the national parks are going to be around. I mean, I have to say, I kind of thought that myself, I'm noticing that, of course, maintenance is not being done as well. Trash cans are overflowing and so forth. I didn't see one park ranger yesterday out in Lamar Valley, and people were getting too close to, some of the wildlife and stuff like that. But no park rangers out there to tell them to not do that. I didn't even see a park ranger truck out there. But I don't know. Maybe that's how it always is. I have no way of knowing. But anyways, it's been kind of busy. Somehow I managed to find parking for the most part yesterday. We'll see how we do today. So I wanted to show you how I planned this trip. So I came in from the north, came in through Mammoth Hot Springs, visited that area before driving to my campground, and I went this way, and then I went around here, and this is where Canyon Campground is, in the Canyon Village. And then yesterday is when I drove the windy road up to Lamar Valley, which is this area here. It took me about an hour to get there. There was some road construction going on and some dirt roads, but for the most part it was pretty paved in here. And I went, how far did I go? Maybe I went about halfway before you get to the northeast entrance. I didn't see this area of the park, so I went to about here. Then I came back, and went back to Canyon Village, and then saw the, Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone in this area here, which is just stunningly awe-inspiring beauty there. Today, I'm going to be breaking camp and going down this way towards Yellowstone Lake. So I've got some stops to do there. And there's Yellowstone Lake. I'm going to hopefully have time to stop at Lake Village. And I want to see the hotel and some other overlooks and so forth. And it's a pretty big sized lake. And I hope to go down here and visit West Thumb if I have time. And then I'll be staying for 3 nights at Grant Village. So I was 3 nights up at Canyon and 3 nights at Grant Village. Basically, Yellowstone is 2 loops. It's like there's this loop. Sorry. There's this loop up here, and then there's this bottom loop here. So, the only area I didn't see of the upper loop was this part here, which I don't think there's, like, a lot to see, but I did see the Norris Basin area, so one day I spent there, all those wonderful steam geysers. So I'll be staying here at Grant Village for 3 nights, and then I'm planning on exploring this area of the loop, Old Faithful is over here. The park ranger told me that I can pretty much go anywhere on these main roads, but I found out that she said don't take any of these little black lines, these little tiny ones that go off like this, like I can't do that road, so I X'd it out so that I knew that I can't do it. Some of these sites have very small parking lots, so I may not be able to do the artist paint pots unless I got there super early. I don't think I can manage that because I have so much to see over here, so that I may have to skip. But yeah, it's a little bummed because this area I can't really do. Firehole Lake Drive, I'm not going to be able to do that area, so I can't do that. They did close. Biscuit Basin is closed due to a hydrothermal explosion, so this is all closed, so I won't be able to see that. So yeah, I'll explore this and this area, and hopefully today when I go down I'll be able to see some of these sites. Looking forward to seeing the lake. One thing I'm loving about Yellowstone is just the variety of landscapes you have here. It's very unique that way. I mean, it's just every area is so different, this is all the Grand Canyon, beautiful area, the canyon areas. And then Lamar Valley was very open, landscape. And then you have the hydrothermal areas. I mean, it's hydrothermal everywhere, but this is where most of the geyser activity is. And then you have the lake, it's just so unique because it's just so many different things to see here. So I'm really excited. I want to get going and get early because I have a lot of things to see. Hayden Valley is up here, and sometimes you can see wildlife there. There's bull elks right now that are kind of dangerous right now because they tend to fight, for the females. So gotta be careful of those bull elks. I was reading this morning that bison are probably the one animal that kills the most people, but I think that has a lot to do with the fact that people get too close or injure people, not necessarily kill them, but injure them. That and, accidents, car accidents and people walking also on the thermal areas where they shouldn't be. One thing I have to say, I've overheard a couple of conversations of people complaining about the vault toilets and the stink factor, you know, and I suspect that even the vault toilets aren't probably getting maintained. The current administration, you know, cut back about on nearly a quarter of permanent employees, and so one of the first things that can suffer is maintenance. So that makes me so grateful to have a RV that I've been able to use the bathroom here. You know, it's like in general, I just love having an RV and being able to use my own bathroom, my own shower and stuff like that. So I'm grateful for that. Okay, well, I'm zoomed in as far as I can go. I'm sorry, I don't have a fancy camera. But that is a bald eagle feeding on a muskrat that it caught in the lake. Through my binoculars, I can see it really well. So really exciting to see a bald eagle. Well, I got kind of emotional because I was watching the eagle through my binoculars. And then I got to see him hop over to the water and drink some water, she or he. And then I got to see her fly off and her beautiful wings, flying low to the water and then flying into the distance, and she was so beautiful. It was so close that I could really see everything, and that was a really special experience for me. I love bald eagles. Proud of myself because I've managed to find parking. It's definitely more challenging with a RV to find parking, but so far I've been able to find parking. But this is one of my stops. Isn't it beautiful? I think it's called Trout Creek. I didn't mention it, but before I saw the eagle, I got to see 2 wolves, light-colored wolves. They were hunting in the grass and they were hanging around an area because they were catching things and having their meals, and they were pretty far away, but I could see them through my binoculars. There was no way I could capture them on camera on my phone. But so cool to see wildlife like that so quickly after leaving my campground. So special. Well, at this stop, other than looking at all the beautiful features around here, I saw one lonely bison way out there, just taking a rest, laying down, and he's a solitary buffalo. I don't see any herd nearby, so I guess some of them can be solitary animals. So that's interesting. All right, going to carry on. In all the videos I've watched, where's my nose red? About Yellowstone, I don't know as if people talked about how smelly it is here. All that still sulfuric acid. It's like being at hot springs. So this stop has lots of geothermal activity. The smell is reminding me that I need to eat my hard-boiled eggs that I made well over a week ago before they start smelling like this. So I feel like I'm getting a steam facial of sulfuric acid. This mist coming up right into our faces. And I read in the literature by the NPS that actually if you start to feel sick in any of the geothermal areas, that it's a good idea to leave immediately because toxic gases can come out of these places, which I did not know. Wow. There is so much to see in Yellowstone. I cannot believe it. Almost too much to see. It's a little overwhelming. Yeah, they had to block this little steam vent off, and it's very close to the parking lot here. It's amazing how close it is. It's kind of trippy to look around and see steam vents everywhere where you look, right next to the lake. So, geez, yeah, if you went on a hike, you'd want to be really careful where you stepped. I don't know how the animals do it without getting hurt. They must somehow instinctively know better. Wow. I mean, I saw people just, walking down here, and I don't think that's a great idea, especially when that one is so close, I mean, you never know when something might open up. I don't know if you heard that story of the 17-year-old teenager who got severe burns on his ankles and feet because he was hiking and the thin crust just broke through, and boiling water. I wonder if that water out there is really warm. I suppose it is. It's like Hot Spring Lake. I just saw, I think there were two brothers arguing about where to go, and kind of a loud argument about where to go, and kind of upset. They're right down there. Those two brothers right there arguing pretty loudly. You can see they're still arguing with the arm gestures. It just kind of reminds me like I love my family, but it's nice to travel alone and just be able to do what you want, when you want, how you want. It's so hard when you're traveling with other people to compromise and, decide that you like the same thing and maybe you don't. And so, it has its pros and cons, but I would say that's one of the pros. They're still arguing down there. And I might also mention that I'm rather stubborn when it comes to seeing what I want to see. I'm not very good at compromise when it's something that's super important to me. If it's not important, of course, I'm like, I don't care, whatever you want. But if it's super important, like going to see national parks and seeing what I want to see, if somebody says, my companion or friend or whatever says, I want to go see this, and I'm like, well, I had planned to see that, then it's really difficult for me to not be able to see what I want to see. So that's why I'm so glad I'm on my own. There's another YouTube channel where she had a caravan of 30 women, and everybody was different in the type of travel they like to do. Some want to shop, some want to see nature, some want to hike, some want to stay still, some want to be moving constantly. And that's one reason why I don't think I could be in a caravan for very long. Too many different styles of travel, right? And so I would be like, yeah, but I want to stop here, but they don't. How frustrating is that? And again, I would only want to do it if it was to places that I don't necessarily, care about, and so, but then you have to ask yourself, well, then why would you want to do it except for just companionship, I suppose. But, yeah, I think just in small spurts is about all I could manage, with traveling with other caravans and groups of people. A lot of people have suggested on my channel, why don't you join a caravan? But I think it could be problematic for some types of people like me. Short stints, maybe travel with one or two other people where we're very similar, and that they would be willing to just listen to me and say, whatever Victoria wants goes. That would work for me. I just walked up a hill, so I'm a little out of breath. But they call this the cooking hillside. A lot of dead trees around it. Because in 1978 there was, I forget what they said. I don't know, it just thermal event that ended up sort of cooking and killing a lot of the trees that were right around there. Well, there was a series of earthquakes, and so I guess this was in 1978 when I was a mere 21 years old. I was not here at the time. First time to Yellowstone. And anyways, there was a series of earthquakes, and initially some of the trees survived, but then on another later earthquake event, they did die. So I can see the remnants still of a lot of the trees that fell in 1978. Yep. So the sign says that this is not boiling water. It's scalding hot, but not boiling water. But basically the heat and gas rise from Yellowstone's magma chamber, and this muddy pool churns and cooks. I'm getting a face full of sulfuric acid. It's probably good for me. I don't know. My body feels pretty good. Not too many aches and pains today. You know, in general, I have to say, I think I already mentioned this, I believe, but, you know, my back is doing a lot better, because I've been trying to be pretty regular about doing core exercises, and it's really making a difference. So I'm really happy that I'm able to do something like that and help myself. You know, you start to have this pain and you think it's never going to go away. I mean, I still have hard days, of course, but I can bend over a lot more without having pain, so that's really exciting. The only thing I'm not getting better at is the driving. I'm really good at it. It's just I'm an anxious driver, and the anxiety really takes over sometimes. One thing I noticed about myself is yesterday in the morning I was super nervous because I kind of worked up into an anxiety state before going to Lamar Valley on that Dunraven Pass. But as the day wore on and I had to do all these maneuvers to get into spots, and you know, really, because the maneuverability was really challenging to try to fit into tight parking spots and stuff, my confidence grew. And so my anxiety was cut down by 75% on the way back. This is called the Black Dragon's Cauldron. This was once a quiet forested hillside, but in 1948, this mud pot roared into existence and blowing trees out by its roots. For several decades, it actually erupted in explosive 10 to 20 foot bursts of black mud, but it has quieted down, but it says it could roar back to life. Will we witness that happening? I don't think so. Okay, well, here's a little lesson for us. So this is the magma chamber, and extreme water pressure forces the superheated water to rise. And then you have different things that happen. You've got mud pots, hot springs, a cone geyser, fountain geyser, or fumaroles. Rain and snow come back down and feed the underground water, and then it comes back up again. So it's kind of like a cycle. Wow, this is called the mud volcano. You know, where I live in Sonoma County, there's actually a lot of hot springs and mud baths that you can go to and pay a lot of money to get a mud bath. I did it once, and you step into a bathtub of mud, and it's the weirdest sensation I've ever experienced. And you lay there in the mud for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, and you get up out, and then the spa assistant hoses you off basically, and then you take a shower. It was a neat experience. I don't know as if I would do it again, but the mud is very good for you. The hot mud. So yeah, I've seen some good behavior and bad behavior, of course. That's what humans are, right? That guy being rude, blowing his nose out on the ground. On the other side of it, though, you know, like I was just at a parking lot and my visibility was kind of low, and this Frenchman was so kind. He helped me park, and he helped me get back out again safely, because sometimes some of these little parking lots, I can't get good visibility going in both directions. So it was so kind of him to help me. But the majority of people have been good and good behavior, so it's a good thing it's in the minority. But you know, I was driving by an area where there's a lot of bison, and there was people walking way too close to the bison. You know, there's so many signs that say, you know, don't get close, but people ignore it. You know, I'm like, yeah, it's interesting. You see all sorts of human behavior here at Yellowstone, that's for sure. The gamut. I really like talking to older people. I don't know why, but they're just interesting to talk to, you know. And I was talking to a couple earlier, and they had some interesting stories of wildlife that they encountered, and they got super close to a wolf and super close to a grizzly, and I'm like, wow, lucky you, you know. And so it's kind of fun to hear people's stories and the wildlife they've encountered, and people have been really nice that way. I wasn't kidding about my hard-boiled egg I needed to eat. I made it into a deviled egg. I highly recommend this company, Penzeys. This seasoning, Northwood seasoning, is delicious. It says it's good for chicken and fish, but I put it on just about everything, and it's so good. It's got, coarse flake salt, Hungarian sweet paprika, black pepper, thyme, rosemary, garlic, and chipotle. It's really delicious on just about everything. So check it out. Penzeys is a spice company back east, I believe. I bought a bunch of different seasonings from them, and they have very good seasonings. This is probably my favorite of theirs. So this is the historic Yellowstone Lake Hotel, built in the 1920s. It's about 30 minutes from my campground, and I'm a little anxious to get going, get checked in, because I want to get a good campsite, so I don't think I will go inside. But I can see right there where I'm pointing at, that's a lounge area, I think, bar and lounge area, and it's quite lovely to sit there and have a refreshing beverage and just look out to the beautiful Lake Yellowstone. It looks huge. Huge, huge, huge. It's another really hazy day, unfortunately. So the mountain ranges over there are pretty faint. All right, we're back on the road.
Turn left onto Lake Village Road.
I am at West Thumb Geyser Basin, I think it is, and it's really beautiful to trippy to see these geysers so close to the lake. Oh my gosh, the color of this pool is so pretty against the white. Wow. That is really pretty. Oh my gosh. It's like this deep, beautiful swimming pool. I want to jump in, but I would probably die. Probably scalding hot. Wow. That is so pretty. It's called the Abyss Pool. La 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 la. It's mystical. It doesn't smell too bad like the other ones do. It's just a hot steam coming off of it. And then the lake in the distance. Wow. That is pretty. It is the trippiest, even bizarre thing to be in an area everywhere where there's steam and boiling mud pots and geysers and all this thermal activity going on. It's such a trip. It's like anything I've ever experienced. So pretty. I would have to say this is a favorite spot I've seen because I love the color blue. It's just so beautiful and clear and gorgeous. And there's more I can see coming up. I had in my notes that this place was beautiful. Maybe I saw a video on it or article about it, and this is just stunningly beautiful. Oh my gosh. Again, just a few minutes from where I'll be camping. I think I'll have to come back here again to see this, and maybe at a different time of day. Wow. I love that it's right along the lake. Driving here, I got to do some lakeshore driving, and that was beautiful. Just stunning. Well, I have to say that Yellowstone so far, on this trip anyways, is my favorite national park. So many different things to see. That's what makes it so unique. And this is just, it's just so unique. And it's beautiful. So glad I'm filming these trips for YouTube, because when I'm on my 80s, I'm going to want to look back on these and remember. Wow, so pretty. I mean, really? A lakeshore geyser? That is incredible. Right at the lakeshore. I just stopped at the store here at West Thumb Geyser, and I purchased some things that I'm gonna love. I got a grand prismatic pen. I got a Yellowstone National Park keychain for my rig keys. I got some conscious step socks that protect bald eagles. There's some bald eagles there. And I got a grand prismatic shopping bag. I bought 3 t-shirts here as well. I mean, in Yellowstone, I mean.